You ever break out your tuner, tune up your guitar, and the minute you go to play a chord, it sounds just about as good as a bunch of seals fornicating? Well, I've got a little trick for you that's going to help out. Okay, so I have one of my newer guitars here, and this just got shipped from Belgium to the United States. And because of that, it's been through some climate changes and humidity changes and all that. And because of that, the intonation's a little bit off. Maybe the truss rod needs to be adjusted a little. It needs a little bit of love. And now I'm going to load an instance of Accent here and open the tuner. And this guitar I have tuned to drop C, which is a whole step below normal tuning, and then the low string 2 steps below. So the open string here is a D. I load it up in the tuner. You can see that's right on. And as I go up, it's going to go sharp because of the adjustment it needs. If I play way up at like the 15th fret, look at how sharp it goes. It gets worse and worse the higher you go. Now, if you're playing mostly open chords and you've tuned it to the open strings with a tuner, it's going to sound pretty okay. But as you move up the neck and play leads or dyads or playing some kind of chords higher up the neck, it's going to start to sound funky and out of tune. And when you're playing in a live situation, this can be really frustrating. You've traveled, maybe you put it into a cold or warm car and out of the car, or maybe you're in some kind of mini tour, you've got it in a van and it's constantly changing between humid and not humid, indoors, outdoors, and the guitars can be a real bear to keep in tune. And hey, if you got a guitar tech with you on the road because you're some big famous band, cool, they can adjust it every day and you're in good shape. But if you're a normal human like the rest of us, you've got to deal with these things yourself and try to figure out how to keep it sounding good with the rest of the band, even though it needs an adjustment as soon as you can get to it. So what I do in these instances is what I call median tuning. I don't know if that's a thing, maybe I just made it up, but I like to actually tune the guitar somewheres towards the middle of the neck, not quite up to the 14th fret, because I'm not playing a lot of stuff really high up there except for certain leads, and you can kind of play with how much you're bending the string to sound in tune. It's with chords that you run into more problems and harmonies, dyads, that kind of thing. So I will take this first string, and instead of tuning it to the open, I will tune it somewhere around the 8th, maybe the 10th fret. This is the 10th here. And now that I've got it centered to there, if it goes a little bit flat as I go down or a little bit sharp as I go up, you're somewhere in the middle. You're not going so far out of the range of what's in tune to the rest of the band as you move through. And I can either do every string on the 10th fret, or I often like to tune by ear. So I will just get that one string tuned to the right spot, and then I'll tune in fifths. So I'll take the 10th fret here and the 8th fret on the 2nd string and play it as a dyad, and it's a 5th. You can really hear when it doesn't vibrate correctly. And then I'll go ahead and do that for every string. I'll do the 5th here, the 5th on the 2nd and 3rd strings, which ends up being the 7th fret and the 10th fret. And then maybe I'll do 8th and 10th on the next strings, which are the 4th and the 3rd string. I'll do the 8th and the 10th on the 5th and the 4th string. And then because I'm in a drop tuning here, I'm just going to play like a chord up here. Tune the whole chord or maybe the octaves. So you have 8 and 8 or 10 and 10. And I go through that way before I do any recording or whatever I'm doing, so that I know that it sounds good and sounds on. I don't always feel like the tuner tells you what sounds good. It looks good, and then you go to play it and it's not great. So if you have the opportunity to, you should always do it by ear as well. So now I've got a guitar that is in need of intonation help, but I can kind of play just about anywhere in the neck and still get it at least close enough. It's not going to be perfect, but it's not going to sound awful with the rest of the band either. So you can see I kind of moved around through various positions on the neck there, and it stayed in tune better than if I had just used the open tuning and I went up. The higher chords would have sounded awful. So there's my quick little tip for anyone who's having problems getting the guitar to sound in tune across the neck. Just tune it somewhere in the middle of the guitar, middle-ish, and at least until you can go get it adjusted, you'll have something that's playable. So guys, I hope that made sense to you and you find it useful. And as always, if you have any comments or questions, please leave them below. And until next time, keep making great music. Hey friends, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. It makes the whole world better.